Hello and welcome to this latest unboxing video, the third that I've done. Now these are proven to be really popular and I'm certainly loving going through my collection. So I'm going to try and post one of these sort of every other week going forward, and I'm going to post Star Wars content every Friday on my channel. So there'll be some new Star Wars stuff for you Star Wars fans every single week. Okay, so I've actually pulled two boxes out today. Now this one was my Imperial Shuttle. Now I never actually owned this one when I was a kid, and it was the piece that I always wanted. And when I used to go to those early toy fairs, dealers had imported them from the States, real mint box sealed ones, and I thought, I'd just love to get one, but they were always a few £100. It seemed an awful lot to pay for just the one toy. And then lo and behold, in about 96, 97, someone actually brought one of these into the shop, which is this one here. Now I always remember it because it had a £50 sticker on. That was the original price. Half price, £25. Half priced again to £12.50, and this was in Woolworths, I believe. And it finally sold at £12.50. The kid had it, the original kid had it, he played with it. Then I bought it back off him. I forget what I paid. I think it was about £25, something like that. The little kid was over the moon. I was just delighted to get one, even though it's not exactly in the greatest of shape. And I think this is going to be one of those toys that I'm going to use as a bit of a project to try and restore it and get it back to its full shape. Now, I had a bit of a surprise because obviously I did have a quick look inside before I sort of dug this one out of storage. And I will get the actual ship out because I've no idea how complete this is, or even what sort of state it was in. But when I did delve inside, there was a few bits inside it. So I do remember getting this one. This is a bit of fun. This is C-3PO cereal, so with a stormtrooper mask on the back. So that's one thing we'll have a look at. So I'll dig all these boxes out, and then we'll have a closer look afterwards. All right, so I'll just get these all out first of all. There is a bin liner in there as well. Now I think I seem to remember vaguely putting some figures in this. So that's it in this one, apart from the shuttle now. Okay, so we will get that one out in a little while. Oh yeah, so some more carded basically. So we got a Walrus Man. And as I said, we'll have a closer look at these in a minute. Zuckuss, a Tri-Logo Paplu, and Romba. Great so far. And a Rebel Commando figure. So there's a few carded in there as well. So we'll have a look at those. Then I've dug another box out, which is a bit more miscellaneous stuff, I believe. So yeah, this has got a bit of vintage, a little bit of modern stuff in as well. So we'll have a look. I don't really collect modern stuff unless it's something that sort of really catches my eye or sort of fits into my old collection. So I know recently they've released Hasbro have released the retro collection with those first 6 figures. And there's that Escape from the Death Star board game with Peter Cushing, Grand Moff Tarkin figurine, and those are certainly on my wants list, but at the moment they're still super expensive to buy in Britain, and I'm hoping that eventually they might actually come over here. So anyway, in this box then we have a Yoda hand puppet, Empire hand puppet. We got this one, which is definitely one of my favorite items. This is a remote control R2-D2. This is the Burt Italian version. And this one's signed by Kenny Baker, so that's quite nice. What else have we got? There seems to be some fast food toys and bits and bobs. This must have been back to the mid-90s when the special editions came out, and there was toys from Pizza Hut and Kentucky Fried Chicken. So there's quite a few of those, so I'll get them out in a moment. Star Wars on Super 8mm film, an original film reel. This looks like, once again, a 90s Easter egg, 1996 Easter egg. Play for Power card games, Return of the Jedi, 83 card game of some sort. So yeah, quite a bit of little bits and bobs, which I'll pull out and do in a moment. What's this? 1994 Star Wars. A tie. It's a Star Wars tie. There we are. So one of those weird sort of offbeat items that I sometimes pick up. Sigma Ceramics figure of Boba Fett. So I do like Boba Fett stuff. I mean, what Star Wars fan doesn't like Boba Fett? This one signed by Jeremy Bulloch, the actor. Then a whole load of that's some bootleg items there. Key rings and bits and bobs, which I'll get to once I've got these pulled out. And then bizarrely, and I didn't even know these were in here. Oh, look at this, Pizza Hut. These Star Wars toys are made for Pizza Hut, so they must go with some of these fast food things I've got. And weirdly, a couple of Willo the Wisp jigsaws, which if you're in the UK, this was quite a popular little animated show that was on sort of tea time just before the news during the week, narrated by Carry On actor Kenneth Williams. I've got a bit of a soft spot for the series. There wasn't really a lot of merchandise made, but I've got these jigsaws and they've ended up in this box. But I've got some other bits and bobs and books and Viewmaster I think I got. So they've ended up in the collection. So that's those as well. And then, so the rest of it is just some fast food toys. So I'll pause the video here, then I'll get all this stuff out so we can have a proper look at it. We're going to definitely have a closer look at that Imperial Shuttle because I can't even remember the last time I actually took it out of the box, probably when I bought it. So the box is in a sorry old state, really, but I'm just pleased to actually have one. So we'll pause the video there. I'll get this stuff properly unpacked and we'll have a closer look at it. Right, so this is the first bit that I've dug out of the boxes, and this was a Boba Fett Sigma ceramic porcelain figure. Now, I used to really like the Sigma stuff, and it would sell very well in the shop because it was a nice vintage item that wasn't exactly expensive. These were quite cheap. Maybe the Boba Fett one was a little bit more. This one, been signed by Jeremy Bulloch. I mean, he was certainly before he retired, he was shall we say, a common fixture at the collectors' sci-fi shows and the memorabilia shows, and he would often be there alongside Dave Prowse and Kenny Baker, signing autographs and pictures and that. I'm not sure how many of these Sigma ones I've still got left. However, I think I've got a few. I'm pretty sure I've got a few. So let's have a little look here. This is the it's like I'm doing a snake, isn't it? What's he like? Well, there we are. I mean, he's not too bad, is he? He's not too bad. I know there's his gun is a bit bent there. I know there's quite a range of these, and some of the pieces are particularly good. The Luke on his Tauntaun teapot, I seem to remember that was a really, really good one. There's some nice cheap picture frames which you could actually use because they're so cheap. I must have a look and see if Sigma stuff is still a bargain to pick up, because I know they did some figural mugs as well, which were quite popular in the shop. We used to sell loads of those. I'm trying to remember what other figures there were. There was Leia in Bouche disguise. There was a Klaatu. I seem to remember there was a Lando, possibly. Quite a few of these. So anyway, it's a nice item that I like that. It's certainly one that ought to be on display if I ever get a nice big display case. And what's this? This is just the original tag. Here we are. Look, there we are. Look, collect all these characters. Cool. I had no idea there was that many. I wouldn't mind seeing the Biker Scout. I bet that one's good. And the Side Snootles and the Rebo Band. Bidford Chino, I remember having us that one. Klaatu Lando, yeah. I don't remember seeing the Jabba, Wicket, Gamorrean Guard, and Leia. Yeah, much more than I thought. So whether they actually all got produced, I don't know. But that was far more than I actually realised had been made. But yeah, quite a nice item. I quite like Sigma stuff. As I said, it didn't used to be that expensive to collect. So that's the Boba Fett. Now these next bits, I just get these out of the way. These are these were produced 96. This is around the time of the reissues, the re-releases of the original 3 films, and some are Kentucky, and some of these are Pizza Hut. So this is a nice little Yoda figure. R2 figure of some sort. Not sure what's going on there. The AT-AT, I'm pretty sure that was a Kentucky one. That's pretty nice as well. Nice little AT-AT figure. This was an R2 puzzle game, I seem to recall. And these are just the sort of thing you'll see loads of if you ever do like boot sales in Britain or jumble sales. This is quite good. This is a Millennium Falcon, but you also came with a little display stand, so you could put the Falcon on there. X-Wing versus TIE Fighter sort of display there. ATST, I remember these were Kentucky now. Some of these were Kentucky. The better ones were Pizza Hut. Like, that was a Kentucky one as well, the Death Star. I'm pretty sure this was a Pizza Hut one with the Falcon going through the asteroid belt. One interesting story, these were British exclusives, and at the time we had the shop, we were doing trades with John DeChico, and he used to advertise on the back of Action Figure News and Toy Review magazine, and we used to do lots of trades of Star Wars stuff with him to get modern figures sent over, stuff that we had customers for, but you couldn't find in Britain. And these particular bits, there's a really nice sandcrawler there. I remember going to the local KFC, and even like today, you don't actually have to buy a kid's Happy Meal to get the toy. You can just go in and buy the toy for like 50p. And I think we went in and we bought, I went down to one of the Kentuckys and I bought 50 of each one. They thought I was mad. And I said, I'm just sending them back to, sending them out to America in trade. So I remember doing that, feeling a bit silly. Han Solo and Carbonite sliding puzzle. How cool is that? That's like a figural sliding puzzle. That's really nice, that one. A couple more here. Darth Vader head of some sort pushing on the back. And this one, I do remember this now. This is like one of those illusion toys. So at one way it's Darth Vader, and you turn it that way and it's Yoda. It's pretty cool, isn't it, that? That's the Empire. So there you go. Yes, they're all like Pizza Hut toys. And when I emptied the box out, I found these cards as well. So these must have been issued with the toys. So there you go, that's that. I'll push them slightly to one side. I don't really collect a lot of modern stuff, but those bits are quite fun. Now, these came into the shop. Now, these are bootlegs, and they're horrible, cheapy plastic bootlegs. No idea where they come from. They look like vending machine toys, if anything. So you got R2 there, the Stormtrooper, Darth Vader. Just little cheapy key rings. Oh, aren't they horrible? They're horrible, but they're so unusual. That's the sort of thing that I do end up keeping. A Chewbacca. I do have some other bootleg bits and bobs in the collection, I'm certain. Some Chewbacca and Darth Vader stuff, because I guess they were easy to bootleg. And 3PO, that's the most authentic looking one of the bunch. So yeah, no idea where they came from, but they do look like little gun machine sort of vending toys. Right, this was that Parker Brothers card game. Now, it does appear, I don't like a Toys R Us. It's got the original Toys R Us sticker on there, $2.92. Inside, however, it is sealed. Don't remember this being anything special. The Play for Power card game. So a few different games in there for you to actually have a play with, by the look of. And the decks are actually sealed to survive. Trap. It's a trap. No, wrong trap. Anyway, that's a Star Wars card game. Yeah, no idea where I got that. Maybe it was one of those ones that sort of came in the shop, or I picked it up at a toy fair or something. Probably dirt cheap. It doesn't exactly appeal much to vintage collectors, but it's quite nice. I quite like the Toys R Us stamp on it, sticker on it rather. That sort of gives it a little bit of authenticity for its age in that, although it was just a Jedi one from '83. So that's that. I've got some more small bits here as well. I've got these key rings. Now, I can only think that these two sort of metal key rings here, the Yoda and the Darth Vader, were ones that I sold in the store. They're dated 1994, Hollywood Pins Company. And I do sort of semi-remember us having a display stand of these, and there was I don't know, 30 or 40 different designs. For some reason I've ended up keeping those two, which are quite nice. And also I've come across this, which must be some promo item of some sort for Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. Now that's one of my all-time favourite movies, Pulp Fiction, and I have got odd bits and bobs which are likely to turn up in these boxes at some point. Not loads by any means, but I've got some really nice sort of choice promotional items. So that is a promo Pulp Fiction keyring, which is a bit random, isn't it? Oh, look at this. This, I think, was another odd Pizza Hut toy of some sort. There we are, the special editions, yeah. I remember these. I am actually a bit of a fan of Rubik Cubes and sort of puzzles like that. So this really ought to go into that collection. However, I guess it fits in because this is, I'm sure this is one of the Pizza Hut toys. So we'll keep it with this collection. Now, the next thing we got is that funny looking tie. Now, I totally forgot I had this. So, look, I mean, they've gone into... Ordinarily, I hate stuff like this because these are sort of manufactured collectibles, like those collectible plates. And those are the sorts of things I generally can't stick. However, this is actually quite a nice one. Although it's numbered, I mean, that means nothing really. I don't really wear a lot of ties, to be honest. But this Darth Vader one, yeah, it's quite nice, isn't it? Ralph Marlin, that was the manufacturer. I don't know, a bit of an odd thing. I don't have a lot of Star Wars apparel. I do have some vintage t-shirts that I am really looking forward to coming across. And I've got some, I think I've got a Luke Bespin jacket, a really small one that might fit Sam, my son. From back, it's a fan club one, yeah, from back in 1980, 81. I'm pretty sure I got one of those, so I look forward to finding that one. And the last few little bits before we go on to some of the other vintage stuff, this is some more modern stuff now. I remember us having these in the shop, and this was back in 1995, Applause. Now, we used to stock loads of Applause stuff in the shop. And these were sort of little danglers. They got a little rubber sucker on there. You could put them onto the side of a window in your car. I think I remember having one on the side of my computer monitor. And there was 6 in this classic series here. I've got to admit that the Super Star Destroyer is pretty damn nice. Or it's just ordinary Star Destroyer. The Y-Wing, X-Wing, and this Death Star is also pretty cool. And for some reason, because, you know, not exactly my favourite Star Wars film, I've got an Episode 1 dangler, which is very random indeed, one of the Gundam ships. But, you know, hey-ho, it is what it is, I guess. So I've sort of filled up this little bit area of the desk here, so I'm going to pause there, and I'm then going to put this to one side, and I'm going to get the other bits ready for us to have a look at. Okay, so here is the Yoda hand puppet. Now, this is the Kenner one. I do believe there is a British version of this one. Of course, they never did a 12-inch Yoda figure, so this was as good as you were going to get, really. And I will dig this one out. We had a little look inside. I remember lots of people at school having this one. Oh, he's actually wired in, so we'll slip it out. It does look complete in the box, so let's see. So we've got a Kenner card there. How do you like it? Well, not bad, thank you very much. Oh, and a little Kenner Empire catalogue. I always love looking through these because they got brilliant photos in. Just look at that. Oh, to have them all brand new again, eh? Oh yeah, the switcheroos. I never got any of those. I have got my original Han Solo gun though. I just love that one. Yeah, that's the all Empire related. There he is there. Yeah, I've got one of those up in the collection as well. One of the Force lightsabers. So that's quite good. Nice to have the catalogue in. And there is Yoda. And you would put your hand up in like this. I've got a bit too big a hand these days. And you could sort of move his head and like that. Excellent stuff. I won't do a Yoda impression because that would be too embarrassing. But there we are. That's quite a nice item, that. I guess it's as good as I'm likely to find a boxed one, and it is definitely nice with these extra little bits in. That is good. So slip those down the back there, or even down the side. There we are. Yeah, Yoda hand puppet. As I said, I remember kids having that one at school. It wasn't one I ever had originally, but when I started, properly collecting Star Wars as a bit of a hobby. Now this was a 90s one, and I remember getting this actually. Now I come to think of it, in Marks and Spencer's in Britain. So this is obviously an Easter egg that was produced at the time. Hollow egg with some jelly shells in. It's got like a little diorama behind it there. Once again, this is my passion for picking up old food stuff, and I've got some Star Wars food stuff back to the late 70s, early 80s, including, I'm sure I've got it somewhere, a little ring that went round the top of a milk bowl, which I've never seen listed anywhere. I think it's really, really scarce set. So anyway, that's one of the more, one of the more modern items. I don't really collect that stuff, but it's quite interesting nonetheless. Now, this I do remember getting, and this is what I just love, these old cereal boxes, and I've had a few different ones in the collection over the years. Even had an old 60s Beatles one at one point, which was really nice, but we sold that one on eBay and got a few £100 for that one. But these don't go for that sort of money. These are, I think, £20-30 if that. And the C-3PO's cereal over here, the actual cereal is a bit like Start, if you ever remember that one. Free Star Wars mask on the back, and this particular one has got the Stormtrooper on the back, which you could cut out and wear. How many are there of these? There's at least 10 different ones, 10 different masks you could get. But they are really nice, and certainly quite an interesting item. But it's an American cereal. These weren't released in Britain by Kellogg's, but brilliant, isn't it? That's a really nice display item. I love that one. Right, the next I've got some of those cards. So for some reason they were in my box with my Imperial Shuttle for some reason. So Paplu, yes, this is a tri-logo Paplu. The bubble's a little bit crushed on this one, and that makes me feel that it was probably from that Finding Muldoonies, because there was definitely some of these tail end Ewoks in there. And I've never bothered really upgrading it because I'm just not a fan of these Ewoks. I don't like them. Although, as Ewoks go, I suppose this isn't too bad. It is what it is, I suppose. But, not a bad figure all the same. Not a bad Paplu. Now, this is a Palatoy Zuckuss. A Kenner Zuckuss, and typical of my Kenner figures. The bubble's yellowed on it, but the actual figure's nice. It's unpunched. A lovely back, 77 back there with the Rancor and that on. Once again, he's one of the bounty hunters, so I'm not going to turn it down. But because it's on a Kenner card, because they've aged so badly, I've sort of gone off them a little bit. So this is a Rebel Commando. Now this is a British one, although a little bit of bubble yellowing, and it's got the Chewbacca bandolier offer on the back. A Collectible 65 with the blacked out Ewoks. That's the Rebel Commando. Then we've got Romba, another one which almost certainly came from that find I got back in the 80s. Look at that, he seems to be, he is moving in there. He's such a fat git, isn't he? He's a bit like me, Romba. Needs to lose a few pounds. But that one's actually really nice, and unpunched, a little bit dusty there from when I last had these out on display, which was many moons ago. And then this one, which I've put in one of these star cases because he is a really nice one, and that's Walrus Man. And I love all those original 21 figures. I just love them to death. And this one has the Niemnum offer with Palatoy's address on the back, and that's a collectible 45 back. So that is actually one of those transition cards. So probably quite a scarce little fella, that one. So that's all the carded that was in this box. So we'll put them to one side. I do love my carded, although not the greatest selection this unboxing anyway, but there's loads more to come, literally loads more to come. Now this next bit is a bit more unusual. Now, so this is something you don't see every day, and it's the reel-to-reel Super 8 film for Star Wars. So I remember as a kid it was somebody's birthday, a friend of mine's birthday, and his dad had bought one of these, and it was basically 22 minutes of Star Wars, the highlights of it. And we all went down to his basement, and he had one of those projectors, and he loaded this film up, or one like it, and we were just gobsmacked to be in his home watching Star Wars in like 1979, 1980. Absolutely amazing. So this is one of those such things. So it says it's in colour and it's stereo, so this obviously has sound. I know there's versions of this which are silent. This was a 16-minute version, but there are versions, as I said, 22. There's a 35-minute version, I think. I think you could get virtually the whole film, about an hour and a half of it, over 3 or 4 different reels. So this is Super 8 sound. And yeah, it's certainly something you don't see very often. Absolutely amazing bit of memorabilia. And I've got somewhere, so hopefully we'll come across it in the next 2 boxes, an Empire Strikes Back one as well, which, you know, obviously by that time home video was in evidence and you could rent Star Wars at least on home video, but it's the reel to reel for Empire as well, a beautiful blue box. But that's really nice, really interesting. Certainly not the sort of thing you come across every day, that. So that's that one. Now we'll do the R2 in just a moment. So just a closer look at those 2 Willo the Wisp jigsaws. As I said, I have a bit of a soft spot for Willo the Wisp, and I loved it as a kid. These are like frame tray puzzles, so they're only 50 pieces. I have no idea if I'm the only one in England who collects Willo the Wisp. Chances are I'm probably not. It's not something I'm looking at every day on eBay. Oh, I must get some new Willo the Wisp stuff. But at the time, a bit like when I was picking up Star Wars, I was picking up Tron and I was picking up the Black Hole. I would also be, this is one of those things, a like little sideline collectible, yeah, pretty good fun, that. And there's another one. I have no idea if they did more than 2 jigsaws, but that's the 2 that I've got. So the next to last thing we got to look at today, apart from obviously the Imperial Shuttle, which is coming up, is this Italian Harbert remote control R2-D2. Now, I've no idea where I got this. I mean, I really don't. I don't know if it came into the shop or if I bought it maybe at a toy fair. I know I'd had it for years. And when Kenny Baker came to Plymouth with Peter Mayhew and, well, about 6 or 7 actors, amazing to get them all together at one time in Plymouth. I took this a bit along to get him to sign, amongst other things. And I remember him commenting saying he hadn't seen one of these for a while. But this is just the same as the Palatoy and Kenner remote control R2-D2, except it's just in Harbert packaging. So, and they call it CIP8. So that was the Italian for R2-D2, I guess. So he's got his little instruction booklet here. Harbor in Milan, I guess Milano. I'm not going to get him out to try, but you can just have a little look there. Oh, why don't know. Since we're here, it's going to be a long time before I get him out again. So let's slip him out of the box here, and we'll have a little look. So see what condition he's in. So look at this. It's even got cobwebs in. How dare it? And that's interesting. It's got English writing on the bottom. So this is one that's probably in need of a little bit of a clean, but he's not yellowed too badly. He's not aged too badly. I remember I did test this when I first got it, and I know it works. There we are. What's the battery compartment looking like? Oh, that's all right. It's in good shape. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. So I'm totally confident that this would still work if we pop some batteries into it. And even the remote control is actually really nice, isn't it? Look at that with the Star Wars stickers on it. And yeah, so the bottom one controlled the head, so it would turn the head, and then the top one would do the body. And this was the remote control that you would screw in on the top there to get this guy working again. I mean, a really nice item. I'm certainly really pleased to have this one. I cannot for the life of me remember where I got it. Well, what an amazing ship this is. I've just spent the last sort of 10 minutes or so getting it out of the box and assembling it and having a bit of a play, and it is amazing. Absolutely flipping amazing. So first thing we'll look at, because I'm going to need to sort of change the camera just to get it all in, it's so massive. But here's the first bit, which is the instruction booklet. Now, interestingly, this has got the, I guess this is trilogo period, because it's got the Lagerta et al.'s Return of the Jedi and the Italian version, Return of del Jedi. So this is in effect like a trilogo version, dated 1983, and this is the original little instruction booklet telling you how to work it. This is battery operated, and I've not got around to doing that. However, everything looks in actually really nice shape. The only thing that really needs doing on this, and it does appear 100% complete, which I'm absolutely delighted about, although, you know, the stickers have been applied in that, which isn't, you know, it's not the end of the world, is it's yellowed. The plastic is yellowed, and I guess that's part of the, that's part of just what happens with this these older toys, you know, but that's something that could be sorted out. It is dusty. There was a little bit of cobwebs on it, and some of the faults, like on the main, the top wing, the plastic's sort of coming away a little bit, but it's authentic, it's all there, and I absolutely love it. So I'm just going to readjust the camera now so that we can have a really good look at it. Okay, so I've just about got the camera. This is by far the biggest Star Wars ship or playset that I've got. So I just wanted to show you the box art. So on one side you've got the line artwork, and then as we move it around, this is obviously where it's not exactly mint, but this is where it would have been taped over at some point by the original owner. Got some pictures of it here. Now, this one I do remember. It's such an iconic scene, isn't it? And I remember going to one of the toy fairs, and there was a display of this, since it had the shuttle and had all the original troops all lined up. They recreated it with Vader accompanying the Emperor out of the shuttle. Absolutely awesome. What a huge I mean, it is literally massive. By far the biggest ship that I've got in my collection. And there we are. Just these bits are replicated in the manual as well. Here it is. So this is the Imperial Shuttle. Now this one does appear to all be there. The wings mechanism still works. You pull up like a trigger underneath there, and that enables you to put the wings up, else it makes the clanking sound, as if it was docked like that. It is an absolutely immense beast, this, and certainly imagine if you were a kid here and you had one of these, it would just be unbelievable, fantastic. Now this one here is a little bit worn. It's not quite in its, this fin here is not quite in its exact position. There's a bit of yellow into it. It definitely does need a bit of a clean up, this one, but I am going to make it a project. I'm certainly going to try and tidy up that box, which I think I can do. And I will report back when I actually get a chance to do that back on here. But what a great item this is. Perhaps the greatest of Star Wars toys. Certainly up there in the top 5 for sure. So here we are. That's the lot. So we've gone through everything that was in those couple of boxes. I'm certainly keeping you updated with regards to my progress on restoring the Imperial Shuttle, just to see if I can get that looking a little bit better than the state it's in at the moment. So there we are. That's this week's video done. I do hope you enjoyed me going through the collection. So let me know, is anyone else who watches this, is their collection not really accessible? You haven't really got room to put it on display, and is it all in like long-term storage like mine is? Anyway, there we are for this week. Now, I am planning to do an unboxing every other week, and I'm going to put new vintage Star Wars content up every single Friday. So do keep coming back for more vintage Star Wars goodness. Do tell all your fellow Star Wars fans that there's some great vintage Star Wars content up here on YouTube now. Drive them to the channel. Let's get my subscriber number up. I am looking to grow the channel and get even bigger and get better equipment and make even more videos for you. So please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And thanks for watching. And I will be seeing you soon, every other week going forward. Thanks. Bye.